By the middle of 2026, a 24-year-old was commanding a $20 billion hedge fund and violently moving global stock markets. To fuel the arrival of artificial superintelligence, Leopold Achenbrenner began aggressively cornering the market on heavy physical infrastructure. He poured billions into specialized cloud operators, retrofitted distressed crypto mining facilities, and secured capacity on miles of natural gas pipelines. The strategy worked. In roughly 18 months, his highly concentrated portfolio turned a $225 million seed fund into an empire with nearly $6 billion in U.S. equity exposure alone. But if you rewind exactly 2 years, you wouldn't find Achenbrenner on Wall Street. You would find him deep inside OpenAI, working as a leading researcher on their superalignment team, a highly specialized unit tasked with protecting humanity from the threat of rogue AI. To his former colleagues in the AI safety community, this transition represents a profound moral fracture. Many view a man actively funding the infrastructure to accelerate superintelligence as a hypocritical war profiteer who abandoned his safety ideals for a massive payout. His career path reflects a specific quantitative conviction. Achenbrenner views the control of physical infrastructure as the prerequisite for civilizational safety, a strategy rooted in the survival models he first helped build as an academic researcher. Long before he was managing billions, Achenbrenner was a recognized child prodigy in Germany who brought his quantitative aptitude to Oxford's Global Priorities Institute. It was there that he co-authored the model driving all of his current financial decisions. This chart represents the existential risk Kuznets curve, a framework designed to calculate human survival probabilities over time. As a civilization discovers technologies capable of mass destruction, like engineered bioweapons or artificial general intelligence, our baseline hazard rate spikes. We enter a phase called the time of perils, where we possess the tools to destroy ourselves, but lack the vast economic wealth needed to deploy comprehensive defenses. Many AI safety advocates argue that we should pause technological progress right here to maintain control. But according to this logic, if humanity plateaus inside this danger zone, a perpetual hazard rate guarantees an eventual extinction event. Achenbrenner identified the safest path as a rapid sprint. A society must aggressively accelerate its growth to cross a critical wealth threshold, allowing it to finally afford the perfect permanent defensive technologies that can push existential risk down to near zero. In this framework, slowing down is the only certain path to disaster. He viewed acceleration as a survival mechanism derived from his own civilizational modeling, an attempt to outrun the hazards of the transition phase. In early 2023, he took this survival logic directly to the engineering frontier, joining OpenAI to work on steering superintelligence models. He worked on technical alignment, but quickly identified a more immediate vulnerability. Coding a safe AI is pointless if your laboratory's cybersecurity is so porous that foreign state adversaries can simply steal the model's weights. Alarmed by internal breaches, Achenbrenner drafted a stark memo to OpenAI's board of directors. He warned that the company was egregiously vulnerable to systematic infiltration by the Chinese Communist Party, allowing adversaries to instantly seize a decisive military and economic advantage. The memo created intense friction regarding the trade-off between commercial deployment and military-grade security. By April 2024, OpenAI formally fired him, citing an alleged information leak. During his termination, the company offered a severance package tied to his vested equity, but it required signing a strict non-disparagement agreement. Identifying as a speech deontologist, Achenbrenner refused, leaving roughly $1 million on the table to retain his right to speak. He left OpenAI convinced that commercially driven labs are structurally incapable of adopting the militarized national security posture required to protect a superintelligence. Unbound by corporate NDAs, he published a 165-page manifesto in June 2024 titled Situational Awareness. The document mapped out the arrival of AGI by 2027, followed by an intelligence explosion yielding artificial superintelligence by 2030. The essay's most critical insight was logistical. Achenbrenner argued that progress towards superintelligence is no longer constrained by the algorithmic ingenuity of researchers. It is bound by physics. Scaling these models requires the construction of massive, trillion-dollar data center clusters. Operating them will demand up to 100 gigawatts of power, consuming an amount of energy equivalent to 20% of total United States electricity production. The primary constraints on AI development are now industrial. Raw power and physical territory have become the definitive weapons in the race for intelligence. Recognizing this binding physical bottleneck, Achenbrenner transitioned from theorist to financier, launching Situational Awareness LP to execute his macroeconomic playbook. He deployed a strategy he calls infrastructure arbitrage. He reasoned markets overvalued hardware chip designers, while severely undervaluing entities controlling the land and power to run them. His fund utilized massive put options against megacap semiconductor designers, hedging against valuations he believed decoupled from the slow reality of physical deployment. He then redirected his capital into the unglamorous prerequisites of the AI era, acquiring stakes in solid oxide fuel cells, specialized cooling systems, and high-voltage transmission lines. Achenbrenner is navigating the time of perils through the global market. By cornering the physical assets of the coming transition, he is attempting to pull the wealth threshold forward, wagering that rapid growth is the only defense humanity has left.